Hey everybody, this is John. Welcome back. Welcome to the free video. I've been out for the last couple of weeks in Cayman, which was great. Always relaxing. Did a couple of trades which I texted out. Those were nice, and then went flat. And coming back, just pretty much bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and ready to take a look at the markets. So let's dive in. So Netflix. Now, but Netflix is interesting. Netflix is one of the early big companies, kind of the Super Bowl companies, to report earnings. And we've gone back and looked at this, and when it starts off with a down report, then it does trigger some of the other key stocks to be down as well, which is kind of interesting. And I'll go through and we'll start talking about which ones have been in alignment there. Obviously, they're different industries, but it's funny how they all kind of work together like that. So Netflix, from a bigger picture, when you have a big down move like this, what I like to see is once it's done, we can actually go in and start selling iron condors and even put credit spreads around it. The big move here, even though this thing was down 13% today, most of the move happened overnight. So this is now priced in and just going to be kind of sitting around back and forth there. And then today, Microsoft had earnings, and this is one. So this is the first trade that I've done coming back and just kind of getting my feet wet, very small, and just really looking for what I would just call an expected move. And so we texted this one out. You can see we closed at $53.09, and here we are after hours at 54.55. So below the expected move. We sold the 53.5 straddle a little earlier in the day when this was at 53.5. At this point, that looks fine, assuming we open up right around here. And then also did the iron fly, which is essentially the straddle with protection. So far so good. Again, just kind of getting my feet wet as we get geared up and jump into all of these different earnings trades that are setting up, because we actually have some pretty big ones that are popping up here. In terms of the overall markets, I'll cover the S&Ps and the NASDAQ in the premium video. The one here to watch is going to be, let's actually change that to the weekly chart, that would be helpful. The one here to watch is going to be the transportation index. You can see it is well off its highs, whereas we have the S&Ps and the NASDAQ making new highs. This is a big divergence. It's a big red flag. However, we do have a big squeeze setting up, and the question is this going to actually trigger long? And if it does, we're going to see all the indexes continue to move higher in a big way, or does this kind of roll over and signify that we start going into a violent consolidating period with potential sell-off into September, October? And that is something that we're going to be looking at, okay? The other thing to keep in mind this week is that the ECB is going to meet on Thursday and decide what to do with rates. Right now, we've got a pretty bearish setup on the weekly chart with the euro. This could be traded obviously with futures, or more easily with puts on, or with options on FXE, which is the ETF for the euro. Right now, I'm looking for it to head lower, but I would like to see if we could get a rally back to the fire line here at $1.12. So that's 104. It's about 200 ticks from where we are right now. So if we go to the FXE, that's about $2 from where it is right now. So that would be a move back to the mean there at about 109, is an area where I would want to add puts on that. Okay. Other than that, we have a ton of earnings plays coming up. One I'm really looking forward to is Facebook. We'll be doing that, and I'm actually going to be talking about how to do this stuff. We can take a look at that right here. Okay, for those of you that are not aware, I'm going to be doing some free training on coming up here on Thursday, and I'll get you the details on that. And it's going to be focused on earnings. So you can go to simplertrading.com/earnings. And this is going to take place on Thursday, July 21st from 6 to 8 Central. Now, we're going to do this one a little different. We are going to have an earnings class, but what we want to do in this webinar is actually teach you the strategies. So especially if you're newer to earnings, like, hey, these are the strategies that we use to trade earnings, okay? And then that way, then after that, we're going to do a class where we're going to go intense into some live trading of earnings. If you want to join us for that, great. Either way, we just want to make sure that you understand how to trade earnings. And so what I'm going to be talking about are a couple different things, and especially if you're newer, why popular earnings strategies are doomed to fail and how to stack the odds in your favor, why earnings volatility terrifies most traders into missing out on extraordinary gains. Okay, how to use carefully constructed trade sequences instead of going in on a single position. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. They just say, okay, I'm going to make a big bet on Amazon, not knowing that there's actually 3 opportunities during earnings trades to do this. You're going to have, here's day of earnings, okay, so you got a period of time leading into earnings, but a lot of times the day or two after earnings you have some of the best opportunities, and it's just knowing how to structure in those 3 places leading up to earnings, day of earnings, and then day after earnings, and then structuring it in such a way that you have the flexibility to change things around. And also you want to know the volatility of the stock, the historical volatility of the stock after the fact, to know should you be using a more aggressive strategy or a more conservative strategy, because if you use an aggressive strategy on the wrong stock, you can get your head handed to you. And then finally, of course, just realizing that there's really no earnings stock you need to be scared of if you structure your trade correctly. If you you should never be too worried at night about this stuff. You can actually set these up as conservatively as you want, even something like Priceline. So, just a couple of other things we'll be covering on there, and by we I mean me. Oh, let's see, we got that one, that one, that one. How to identify underground earning trades and avoid the highly competitive name stocks like Facebook, Amazon, and Google. So don't get me wrong, I love trading earnings on Facebook, Amazon, and Google, but there are so many other opportunities out there that are off the map that are a lot more conservative, and I just want to show you how to do those. The savvy way to profit from predictably volatile events that repeat like clockwork. A little-known safe trade setup on explosive stocks like Priceline that lets you sleep like a baby. And I know everybody's terrified of Priceline, but you can set it up where it's not a big deal. The specific tools, resources, and websites that can give you an edge on earnings plays and a lot more. This one's going to be a lot of fun. I think that over the next couple of months, earnings are going to be where it's at. I think the markets themselves are going to be kind of turning into a choppy mess post-Brexit. We had the puke and the rally post-Brexit, and now it's time for the markets themselves to digest. Where we're going to make our money is in the volatility that comes from earnings. All right? Looking forward to it. See you guys there on Thursday.